Hi. I'm at Elysium Fields Baptist Church for Tesla High School graduation practice. And the time is 4:45 p.m. Time to go inside.
Hello. Today we have a bunch of students. Some whose brothers or fathers don't come to our ceremony tomorrow because they are alcoholics and don't want to ruin our ceremony because they aren't there for you anymore. I will go over the rules before we go over the graduation rules. Let's start with the graduate guest admission process. Any questions?
Does that apply to your co-workers if you work a part-time job or an internship?
Yes, Esmeralda. It applies to co-workers if you have a part-time job or an internship. Anyways, graduates will be allowed 6 guests, and guests must arrive and enter the ceremony site with their graduate. In addition to allowing graduates to have 6 guests for graduation ceremonies, the district will permit general admission after graduates and their guests arrive. And yes, that includes co-workers, your boss, a few of your neighbors, and other people. Be advised, general admission guests are not guaranteed entry if capacity has been reached at venues. Members of the public seeking entry during general admission times are not required to arrive with graduates and should report to the gates during the designated general admission times for each ceremony, even co-workers and their bosses.
Tailsland, I need to hit the John. I will be right back.
Carolina. He needs the restroom.
Not quite yet. He needs to hold it in until before we read the graduation rules and regulations.
Oh man, I could not make BRiCKS go to the bathroom during graduation practice. Maybe I could prank him so that he can go to the bathroom with something that can scare him. Maybe a siren.
Please listen carefully.
I know. I'll use my phone with the volume of 100% to play the Silent Hill siren sound effect. That way he'll make himself go to the bathroom amid the graduation practice rules and regulations. Reckle.
Between 3:45 and 4 o'clock for last names S through Z.
Oh my god, a tornado is on the ground, better find shelter.
Everybody. The graduation practice is not finished yet. Mrs. Lewis, will you sit down? Turn up the sound because it's scaring everybody.
Whoa. That nearly made me wet myself. But don't worry, I could hold it in before Mrs. Ramirez announces the rules and regulations of the graduation ceremony.
Sorry for the interruption, but as I continue, there is a new general admission arrival time from 4 o'clock to 4:30. Inclement weather plans. In case of inclement weather, graduation ceremonies will be held indoors. There is no need because it is indoors. Graduates will still be permitted 6 guests, and guests must still arrive with their graduates. Any inclement weather plan announcements will be made a few days prior via the district's automated system, websites, and social media. Safety is a top priority in Chaseville Santa Angela Public Schools. Please review the following safety guidelines, which will be in place at graduation ceremonies. Please listen carefully as I go through them. 1. Security. Metal detectors will be used, law enforcement and safety officials will be present, and the district's clear bag requirement will be enforced. Noisemakers are prohibited. No re-entry allowed. 2. Graduate and guests masks. Graduates and their families are encouraged to follow current district, CDC and TRRHD guidelines for face coverings. Visit www.cdc.gov or www.trrhealthdepartment.gov. 3. Sanitation stations. Hand sanitizing stations will be positioned throughout the ceremony site for guests and graduates. 4. Graduate seating. Graduate seating will be placed on the stage where live children's shows, magic shows, and theater plays are held per social distancing guidelines. Many of you don't get that. But Mrs. Wolf and I encourage you graduates to do so. 5. Guest seating. Guest seating has been sectioned off to encourage social distancing. But due to vaccinations taking place, it is not the case anymore since we have employees of graduating students and other people coming to see you all walk the stage.
And that includes people from the countries of the United Kingdom, France, Italy, China, Japan, North and South Korea, Iceland, Denmark, Finland, Netherlands, Belgium, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Portugal, and other countries coming to see you graduating.
6. Dismissal. Guests will be dismissed by section to avoid crowding. We ask that all guests remain seated until they are dismissed per section by safety officials. But that is not the case. Instead, we dismiss the guests starting by country and by state. 7. Restrooms. A limited number of restrooms will be accessible during graduation ceremonies. But that is not the case anymore. Instead, all restrooms are accessible during graduation ceremonies like ours. Oops. Did I press the F12 key by mistake?
Yes, you did, Carolina. Exit out of the inspection thing, please.
Okay, Karen. 8. Refreshments. Water will be provided for graduates, but water will not be provided for guests, and concessions will not open for graduation ceremonies. Guests are permitted to bring sealed bottles of water, but coolers will not be allowed.
In that case, as the pandemic eases out, concessions will be open, like for theater plays, live children's shows, and magic shows, and water will be provided for guests across the country and around the world, even from different companies and workplaces.
9. Parking. Information on graduate and guest parking as well as handicap parking, including site maps, will be posted on the district website at www.csaps.org/graduation beforehand. And yes, it is held at the de Havilland Performing Arts Center. 10. Safety announcements. Safety guidelines and reminders will be announced throughout graduation ceremonies like ours. Whether by me, Karen Joyce, who is standing in row 3 of the chapel, Mrs. Wolf, Mrs. Durham, Mr. Roden, or Mr. Madsen. And 11. Emergency procedures. In the case of an emergency, guests are asked to seek help from safety officials and/or law enforcement officials who will be located throughout the site. Medical staff will be present at graduation ceremonies like ours. Graduates and guests should still arrive at their designated times. After entry with their guests, graduates will be directed to areas where they will be ordered for the processional. We've already gone over the dress code for this event. Any questions?
As Basil Fawlty from the BBC comedy Fawlty Towers would say, no, kind madam, because we already know what it is like for an event like this.
Good. Now, everybody take a 5-minute break before we move on with our graduation practice.
I'm a serial killer, and I will kill you if you don't graduate.
Well, my pants are wet. But how am I going to go through graduation practice looking like this?
Did I just hear Gabriel Cortez wet his pants before the second part of graduation practice?
Trickshot, that's him. Kick him in the crotch. He's laughing at him because he wet his pants.
What on earth? I am so mad at you, that I am going to kick you in the crotch.
Oh no. Not that. Anything but that. Ouch. My crotch.
Next, your ass is going to get kicked.
Oh no. Matthew, don't do it. Trickshot. Matthew, stop. You two are abusing me.
This will teach you a lesson not to scare BRiCKS with a serial killer and Tornado Siren prank.
Now dry those tears, change BRiCKS sweatpants, and come with us back to the chapel because the second part of the graduation practice is coming up.
Okay. And remember, never prank someone with a tornado siren or become a serial killer as they can get scared and even wet their pants. Anyways, the end of an era is tomorrow. So, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye.